And I'm Joanne.
And today we're talking to you about fasting. So what is fasting?
Biblical fasting is abstaining from food for a certain amount of time. And why do we fast?
We fast to be more attuned to the Holy Spirit. See, fasting allows God to speak louder than the things that surround us. Fasting is a way for us to conquer the physical and open the door to the supernatural.
Yes.
You know, in 2 Chronicles 20, 1-4, I encourage you to read it after, but it's the story of King Jehoshaphat, and he has armies coming against him to attack him. And what does he do? He holds a fast. He inquires of the Lord. Fast forward, when they enter into battle, King Jehoshaphat and his army, they start praising God, and the enemies, those that are coming against him, they turn on each other, killing each other. And King Jehoshaphat and his army are victorious without even lifting a finger.
Yeah.
And so fasting, it works.
Yes. And side note here, but if you're not praying while you're fasting, you are literally just on a diet.
Yeah. There's a quote that Lisa Bevere says, and she says, "A diet changes the way you look. A fast changes the way you see." And so it's so important to build prayer into your schedule when you're fasting, because sometimes we can get busy, and if you don't put your schedule in place, other people will. So make sure you include prayer when you are fasting.
Yeah. And you don't have to let people know that you're fasting. Matthew 6:16-18 says, "And when you fast, don't make it obvious as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled, so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, that is the only reward they will ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair, wash your face. That way, no one will notice that you are fasting except your Father who knows what you do in private. And your Father who sees everything will reward you." So there's even the story of the demon-possessed boy that Jesus' disciples couldn't heal, and they asked Jesus why they couldn't, because Jesus had already given them the authority to do so. And he said this kind comes out only by prayer and fasting.
That's good.
So, fasting is a personal thing, and you can fast however you want. It's really between you and God. There's different ideas. You could do different amounts of time. So you can do one day with no food, and you spend every meal that you're supposed to be eating praying. Or you can do 3 days only liquids. You can do 1 week with no lunch, but when you're supposed to be eating, you're supposed to be praying. That's the main point of fasting.
Yeah, and fasting, you might think, oh, that's such a sacrifice. And in a way it is, but I challenge you to change your perspective and view fasting as an investment. And when you fast, I would say always expect to receive an answer. Just like when you pray, expect to receive an answer. When you fast, expect to receive an answer.
And something I just remembered, actually, that a number of pastors and evangelists have said this, so I can't even really quote who it originated from. But when you're fasting, you're starving King's stomach, and you're feeding your spirit man. So it's like the image of two dogs. Whichever dog you feed the most is the dog that's going to win. So if you're constantly feeding your stomach and you're not spending time prayer and fasting, you're feeding the flesh. But when you decide, no, I am going to tell my stomach, you're not eating lunch today, we're praying, and because we're seeking answers from God, we want answers from God, then you know what? You're feeding your spirit man, and you know what? Your faith arises and things get done.
Exactly. So you're conquering the physical, your stomach, and you're opening the door to the supernatural.
Yeah.
So we hope you learned something about fasting today. God bless.
We love you.
Peace.